Hey there, my fellow educators. Welcome back to another episode of Schooling Around. And today we're going to dive into the 7 guiding principles of MTSS. And these principles are the backbone of what we do every day in the classroom. Whether you are new to MTSS or just looking to refine your approach, this episode will help you. We're going to break it down, make it relatable, and trust me, by the end of today, you'll be more confident in your understanding of MTSS. Ready? Let's dive in. Welcome to Schooling Around, a podcast hosted by Branching Minds, featuring prominent leaders, subject matter experts, and thought innovators with their perspectives on the current challenges facing K-12 education. I am your host, Larissa, a former teacher, instructional coach, and a member of the Branching Minds team, here to lead conversations and to shine a light on phenomenal educators and those that are on a mission to transform our schools and the lives of students. Maybe you've been listening for a while, or this is your first episode. If you like what you hear, would you do us a favor by rating and reviewing us on iTunes? This is a fantastic way to tell us you enjoy what we are creating. Also, if you want more MTSS resources, sign up for our weekly newsletter using the link in our show notes, and check out our website for all the blogs and guides you would ever need about MTSS. So let's start with the first principle. MTSS is for all students. Now, this is something we all know deep down, but sometimes it's easy to fall into that mindset that MTSS is just for the kids that are struggling, right? And in reality, it's about proactively supporting every student, not just those who are in need of intervention. This reminds me of a story from a 3rd grade teacher I know. She noticed one of her students who wasn't struggling yet, but was starting to disengage from learning. And instead of waiting for him to fall behind, she used data from universal screeners to intervene early with some small group instruction. And by the end of the year, that student was flourishing, and she didn't have to move him into a tier 2 or tier 3. And that's what MTSS is all about, being proactive, not reactive. You're going to hear me say that several times. Now, let's talk leadership. MTSS doesn't work without strong leadership. It's principle number 2 for a reason. Whether you're a school administrator or classroom teacher, everyone needs to be on the same page to make MTSS work. Leaders provide the direction, the resources, and most importantly, the time for MTSS to be successful. I truly believe that a leader will make or break the implementation of MTSS in a school. I saw a post on Facebook in a group recently. How do I get buy-in for MTSS? My answer, make the impact of MTSS visible. For example, one principal I know held data meetings every month where teachers could see the progress students were making. This made the benefits crystal clear. Showcasing the wins was actually a huge way for teachers to feel supported and to be able to celebrate. And this created immediate buy-in for the process. All right, here's one that we can't skip over: scientific research-based core instruction. This is principle number 3, and it's the foundation of an entire MTSS framework. Your core instruction needs to be research-based, reliable, and effective for most students. The goal is to create a classroom environment where core instruction is strong enough that most students succeed right off the bat. It's like planting a garden. If your soil, your core instruction is rich, most plants will thrive with minimal care. The power of core instruction done right is seeing every student in your classroom fully engaged and working through understanding the content. When we use strategies with high probability of success because they're rooted in solid research, whether it's through peer teaching activities or hands-on learning, we're setting our students up to win from the start. This also means using differentiated instruction, other engagement strategies, and learning supports for those things that make that classroom a great place to learn. Which brings us to principle number 4, assessments. The right assessments give us the data we need to guide our instruction, both proactively and reactively. And we're not just talking about end-of-the-year tests here. Summative assessments, yes, but also those universal screeners, like the NWEA MAP test. That's the one I gave. Those give us an early heads up. And then the progress monitoring assessments, those show us whether interventions are working. It's about getting a complete picture of the whole child throughout the year, not just at the end of the year. So I'm going to throw in SEL screeners and behavioral screeners in there as well. The fifth guiding principle is one of my favorites because it's all about having a response protocol. The best picture of this is what happens when I get sick and I go to the doctor. And based on my symptoms, they kind of have a standard set of prescriptions and procedures they start with to help me feel better. So think about response protocol being how we decide who gets what and when. The protocol basically outlines a plan for using research-based targeted interventions and enrichment services with increasing levels of cumulative support. It also outlines the roles and responsibilities of staff and clarifies the procedures and processes within the model. I like to think clarity is kindness. So an example might be a set of requirements to intensify a tier 3 level support for a student, or procedures for when you notify parents. Those are all protocols. When we have a clear response protocol, we know exactly when to move a student to a different tier and what interventions to try and how to track their progress. And there are different types of response protocols, like a standard treatment protocol where students with similar needs receive same support plans, or problem-solving protocols, which is more individualized. Some schools may use a blend of both. The point is, you have a roadmap for supporting students, and that makes decision-making clearer for everyone involved. Of course, this leads perfectly into principle number 6. Data guides everything. Data is not just for those report cards and test scores. It's our flashlight in the dark. When you're able to see how your students are performing in real time, whether it's through universal screeners, progress monitor, or behavior data, you can adjust your instruction and interventions on the fly. And I've seen questions like, how do I balance all this data without feeling overwhelmed? And I get it. Data can feel like a lot. There's a ton of spreadsheets, right? It's all over the place. And my advice is to lean on tools that bring it all together for you. An MTSS platform like Branching Minds, for instance, gathers everything in one place: assessments, interventions, behavior tracking. You can see who needs help and what kind of support they might require. Don't be afraid to let technology take some of that heavy lifting off your shoulders so you can get back to the job of teaching and supporting students. Finally, the 7th principle. Educators are learners too. And I'm so passionate about this. We can't forget that teachers need support just like our students do. This might look like ongoing professional development, coaching, or even just time to collaborate with colleagues. That is precious, precious time. And when we respect teachers as diverse learners, we build capacity for long-term success in MTSS. It's that ongoing continuous learning. I've spoken to many educators who talk about how professional development has helped them not only understand MTSS better, but implement it with more confidence. And I think previously on a podcast a few weeks ago, we talked about how confidence breeds buy-in, and it breeds teachers who are in it for a long haul. One teacher I know went from being overwhelmed by MTSS to being a mentor for her colleagues just because she had success and great access to PD and coaching. It's a reminder that we're all on a learning journey, students and teachers alike. So there you have it, the 7 guiding principles of MTSS. MTSS isn't just a framework. I like to say it's a mindset too, and it's a way to ensure that every student, no matter where they start, has the opportunity to succeed. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. How are you implementing these principles in your classroom or schools? Are there areas where you feel stuck and you have blockers? Reach out to us on social media or send me an email at podcast@branchingminds.com. I'd love to keep the conversation going, and I'm going to share some resources in the show notes for you. And as always, if you're looking for tools to help you streamline your MTSS process, I'm biased, but check out branchingminds.com. We've got a ton of resources to make this work feel more manageable and honestly more effective. Plus, we have amazing professional development resources like webinars and a newsletter and blogs and articles, and we have great professional services here at Branching Minds. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep pushing forward. Thank you for all the work that you do. You're doing amazing work for your students. Have a great week. Thanks for listening to Schoolin' Around, a podcast hosted by Branching Minds. Go ahead and subscribe to our feed wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, if you are enjoying our content, would you do us a favor and rate and review our podcast on iTunes? This helps others find our podcast and lets us know how much you love what we're creating. Branching Minds is an educational technology company using learning sciences and technology to help districts effectively personalize learning through MTSS. To learn more about us, check out our website, branchingminds.com, or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Branching Minds.